The best thing about being an options trader is it allows me to homeschool my children. It's important that I teach them the right way to think about the world as early as possible. Here's a picture my son made for me during his art class. I think it's beautiful.
Okay, what's going on, everybody? Let's get straight to it. Busy morning in a lot of different ways. Hope everybody's doing well. So, doing the lunchtime thing again. So it's 1:30 Eastern Standard. Let me know what part of the country that you're coming out of. Hopefully you was able to make it. A little bit of an impromptu video, but I think it's going to be a really, really important video, right? And again, putting out content specifically for traders, people that desire to trade, people that want to learn how to trade, people that are trading and maybe it's not working for them. So my content goes from the beginning level, in my opinion, all the way up to, the quote unquote expert level, right? I don't ever think you ever master this because it's a behavioral process, but I do think you can get really good at it, right? But I do also don't think you can ever be a master at it, right? So this content is definitely going to be for traders, but if you're thinking about trading, you can learn a lot from this particular video because this can help you before you go into the space. So again, what I'm going to talk about is some of the things that I've done wrong, because one of the things that I do not like about this YouTube space, and I've kind of really decided I really wasn't a fan of it, is people at the end of their journey acting like throughout the whole journey they didn't have issues, right? It's false that like you start something in 2000 and then now you able to profit from it, but you only have problems with what you was doing in 01. That's false, right? It don't work that way. You know what I'm saying? That's like me saying that Kobe got good and then never had a bad game after that. That's false. Kobe had a lot of bad games after he got good. You know what I'm saying? Or Jordan got good and never had bad games after that. Or Tiger Woods got good at golf and never had bad golf outings. That's false because he had a bunch of them, right? So one of the things that I'm definitely going to make sure that I'm criticizing by example and not just words is getting people to understand is that nobody's perfect. And just because you might see me farther along the journey than you, it don't mean I did not make mistakes all throughout the journey. It doesn't mean that, because that would be false, right? No matter how good you can trade, you're going to still make bad trades. Because part of being a trader is realizing you made a bad trade and cutting the loss, right? That's part of being a trader. So normally as you get more experience and you get better, you get quicker and quicker at cutting your losses, right? That's what I want you to understand. But this YouTube thing and this social media thing that people have created to where, you know what, it's kind of like a rags to riches story, to where, I was the best definition of doing it wrong 10 years ago or 30 years ago or 40 years ago. And then I figured it out. And now I'm finna give you all my wisdom as if you didn't make a mistake last week. That's false. It don't work that way. Not in real life. It don't. Not in the, the metaverse internet world where people want to live these fantasies and they want to, turn people into celebrities. That's cool. Like, because they need to believe that about that person. But yeah, we're not doing that here because I think that it can get people to look at me in a way in which is not real. I'm not a perfect person. I make mistakes. I do things wrong. I just may know more about certain situations than you do. You may know more about certain situations than me. I can get gain from you. You can get gain from me. But nobody's perfect at doing this, right? And so I want to continue to reinforce that to people. You don't have to feel like somebody has to be perfect for you to listen to them, and that you got to be perfect to have arrived in the space, because it doesn't work that way. People make mistakes every day, and your life is not going to all of a sudden come together just because you figure out how to be perfect. That's not how life works, right? And people are not acceptable just because you think they're perfect. That's also not how life works, right? Because people change over time. So just because you cool with somebody today, it don't mean they're going to be the same person 10 years from now, because people going to change, because things going to happen in life to make them change. So really, we got to start unraveling a lot of these myths around real life and how life actually works, because I think a lot of people are chasing a dream and they feel like if I can't get the dream, then I'm just going to settle for nothing. And I want them to understand is that this life don't really work that way. You got to take the goods and the bads. You got to take what come with it. You got to take the up, downs, and the turnarounds. That's how life works. And the question is, are you committed to a purpose that allow you to withstand that? I was at Sunday school last week, and the guy that was teaching Sunday school was telling us that, you know what, you got to have a commitment or a purpose greater than your individual self in a relationship, right? Because if it's just about your individual self, when things go wrong or things ain't the way you wanted to be at this particular moment, you're going to blow up. See what I'm saying? So you got to realize is that this idea that a person got to be at this particular spot and then they've arrived to where now they can give you some wisdom is false. I'm not saying that a person shouldn't have something about themselves, but for a person to have to show you, I'm a perfect trader, I never make no mistakes, for you to not listen to them about trading, that's false. But that's what a lot of people want, for them to feel comfortable listening to somebody. So that's all we're going to talk about. I don't want to get on no long rant. So how I learned to stop blowing up trading accounts. Okay, this is really, really big because a lot of people have blown up accounts, right? But I want to tell you, if you blown up accounts, you were some of the best in the world. Because why? Everybody's blown up their account, whether you know it or not. People that have way, way, way more money than you have blown up accounts. Way more money than you, right? That Asian dude, I forgot the name of that particular firm he was running, starts with an A. He blew up a multi-billion-dollar account. Blew it up, right? One of the dudes that owns the Charlotte Hornets. Is that the Hornets? I think I'm tripping. It's the Bobcats. I seen that hat Erica had on yesterday. I'm thinking about the Charlotte Hornets. It's the Bobcats. One of the guys that owns the Bobcats, he helped blow up the fund that owned GameStop when GameStop went crazy. He was down with that. So he blew that up, then rolled into being one of the part owners of the Bobcats, right? These things happen. People blow up accounts, right? However, if you learn from blowing up the account, you're not going to apply that to your next trading situation, because you now know what not to do, right? So this is why I tell everybody when they say, how much money should I start with as a trader? I tell them a few $100s, because why? I don't want you to blow an account with $10,000, because if you're not really experienced in this space and you don't have really, really good risk management, you don't have really good behavior controls, it's very likely you're going to blow up accounts. So why would I tell you you need 10,000 to start, and I know you're going to blow up an account, which is why I don't teach people how to trade futures. Because you often need more money to trade futures to start than you need to do options, and you're going to blow an account because you don't really know what you're doing, but you put all this money into this account to start off, and I know you're going to blow it. You're going to blow an account. These things happen. And you got to learn what you did wrong to correct your behavior so you don't keep blowing accounts. Right. So that's why I picked the options market, because the barrier to entry was very low to get people into the markets. With futures, you often got to put up a few $1,000s, and then you blow that, then now you're out of the game permanently. And you're scarred because you're like, man, I can't believe I spent $5,000 to $10,000 trying to learn how to trade futures. I blew my account. Now you feel like, man, there's no way for me to get out of this rut that I'm in because I just blew my futures account. I don't know what else to do. That's why people can't tell me like, I know better, because I know how these things work. I know how these things work. Like, I actually know how they work. I've been offered stuff. Somebody just offered me a deal today to promote a prop firm. I might take it. I don't know. Let me see what the numbers look like. Right? So I get people come at me with this stuff. So I know how these things work. I just don't entertain a lot of it because it's not my assignment. It is not what I'm supposed to be involved in. I realize that if you got a certain message in this space, you gonna blow up. That's just how this game works. And if you don't, you're not gonna blow up like that unless God wants you to blow up, right? But that's a whole nother conversation, right? So let's get straight to it, because I don't want to be long-winded on y'all lunchtime. Most important thing I learned to not blow an account is I bank a percentage of my profits, right? That's the most important thing. If you learn this, you can cut the rest of the video off. This is the most important thing. And it took me a long time to learn this. Right? Took me a long time to learn this. The most important thing I learned is bank a percentage of my profits. So let me give an example. And I should have learned this earlier, because me and Chastity had this conversation years ago. And I told Chastity, when you go to Vegas and you be on the tables and doing whatever you're doing. So let's say you, the person listening, you go to Vegas, right? You get on them tables. You know what I'm saying? You get on that baccarat. I think it's called baccarat. Let me say another game that you can't count. You can count 21, but most people can't count, so it's like they can't count it. Let me name another game. I don't know, because I don't be in the casino like that. But when you go to that casino, and let's say you start with 1,000, right? Okay, bam. So you end up on 1,000. You on the craps table. You look up an hour later and you got 10 grand. The way most people think is they think, okay, I started with 1,000 and now I got 10 grand off the craps. And so they start thinking, well, the 10 grand is house money. No, it's not. The 10 grand is your money. Why? Because you won it. It's not the house's money that you won from the house. Oh, that's house money. No, it's your money because you won it. So now you got $11,000 of your money, because when them people take money from you, they don't see it as, oh, that's house money. No, that's our money because we took it from them. You understand what I'm trying to tell you? So one thing I really would express to people, that when you go to Vegas and you hit, that's your money. So what you got to understand is, how are you going to get out of there with your money? Because the goal of Vegas is to keep you playing long enough to give them their money back to them. That's why they try to keep you in the casino, right? Because they know if we just keep you playing, you'll eventually get the money back to us. So even though you may hit, you may look up, you may be off 50 grand. If we just can keep you playing, the way our edge works, the casino only got a small edge. People don't know this. Casinos got a very small edge. The probability on their games is really small. The way they beat you is with time. They don't beat you with the numbers being on their side. They beat you with time. They know if they keep you in there, you're going to fatigue. Some of y'all like to drink, and you know you're not no cold drinker like that, but you think you are. You think you like somebody in these movies. That's who you want to be, but you're really not like that. So they're going to give you that free alcohol, right? If you a dude, and maybe if you a chick, they're going to send some girls at you. That's going to get you distracted. They got a whole bunch of ways to get that money to go back from you back to them. They've been doing this for decades. The casinos were built a long time ago. They know what they're doing. They know psychology. And so what they do is they get you to give them that money back to them. So you might have been up 11. When you finally snap out of that trance, you might not only be up 2,000, but you was at one time up 11, right? So what you got to realize is that when you hit, what amount of the money are you taking away from the deal? What amount of money are you taking away? So what I had to really learn how to do is, when I hit for a trade and I win money, right? Or I gain profit, I got to take something out of that deal. It don't matter if it's $1. It could be $1. I got to take something away, right? So what I learned how to do is, on every trade, if I win, I take something away. It don't matter if it's $1, but I never take all my money and put it back into another trade. I don't do that. First, you don't want to do that because you got to pay taxes on it, right? But you most importantly don't want to do that because you want to make sure you take something out of every trade. And this is what destroys a lot of people's accounts. They go on a winning streak, and then what they do now is they say, well, I'm going to put all that money into some more trades. Well, what you taking away from the table? You're not taking anything out of the market, right? So you take all of that and put it in, and then those trades don't work. So now what they do, they end up at zero. Now they don't have nothing to show. You see what I'm saying? And this is how a lot of people blow their accounts. I know because I've done it, right? I have won on trades, then taking that money and taking all of that money and put it back into some more trades. And then the second round of trades didn't work. Now I'm right back at zero. And this is why a lot of people can trade all year and their account at the end of the year don't be positive. They made money, but they're not going to walk away with no money at the end of the year. You always got to take something away out of the deal. It don't matter if it's $1. At least take $1. At least you can say you took $1 away. But a lot of people taking nothing away because what they're trying to do is they're trying to get somewhere real fast. Or they think they're gambling and they don't know how to gamble, right? Because professional gamblers know how to take their money off the table, right? So that's what I want people to understand. Always bank a percentage of your profits. Always. It don't matter if it's $1, right? And every trade can be different what you take away, but make sure you get something. If you win money, you need to make sure you're keeping some of that money. All this work that you're doing, trading, all the risks that you're taking, you ain't going to take nothing away. You got to make sure you do that, right? So that's what a lot of people are not going to expose to you. You got to always take something away from the deal because that's your money. If I run a trade and I win money, that's my money. It don't belong to anybody else. It belongs to me because why? It's my money. I made it. And so I want to always encourage you to make sure you take some of your money away from the trade, right? Don't, I don't know. Don't play yourself. Next one, cut losses, stop trying to be a hero, right? A lot of people how they blow their account is they will not cut a loss. They will not cut a loss to save their life. One of the biggest reasons they have not established where they're going to cut at before they get in. Right? So they won't cut losses. So what they do is they sit back and watch the trade erode over time. It get lower and lower and lower. And that can happen to anybody. You could have a lot of conviction over something. You could believe it's going to turn around. And so what you do is you continue to sit back and watch it erode, and you keep losing premium, keep losing premium. And now you at zero. And especially if you don't have a lot of time on the contract, it can really hurt you because it's very unlikely that those contracts rebound. So sometimes you got to learn how to cut losses and stop trying to be a hero. Here's a problem a lot of people have. A lot of people they cannot accept they was wrong. All of their language is never, I was wrong. That's never their language. If you listen to people when they talk, they can never accept they was wrong. It always got to be somebody else. They got this term now called, I allowed this to happen. No, you was involved in the situation. You didn't allow nothing to happen. You was involved. There was no allowing. Allowing is for children. Grown people don't allow nothing. They participate. So we have a lot of language in our society around the person not taking responsibility. And I don't mean that bad things don't happen to people. I had somebody tell me something about something that happened to them. And they was like, I played a part. I was like, no, that's not your fault, because when somebody is moving like that, that's what they own. You ain't got nothing to do with that. But a lot of what our society sets up, and a lot of it to me is sex, is biological sex specific, where people can't accept, I participated in what went bad. I was a participant in this. I'm not 100% responsible, but I participated in it, right? So you got that chick that they got arrested with them people they claim shot Fulio out there in Tampa, right? It's a chick inside that case. She didn't pull the trigger, but she participated, right? She didn't pull the trigger, but she participated in it. So the question is, what's her level of participation, right? But she didn't allow nothing. She popped up on the internet on some relationship show talking about how I allowed myself to be. No, you participated. You want to be running. You want to be out here like that. So now you out here. Just come with it. Right? You didn't allow nothing to happen. You woke up in the morning, you decided this was you was finna get yourself involved in. So that's what you got involved in. So the problem a lot of people have as traders is they bring that mentality into the markets. And if you think like that in the markets, you're going to get punished because the market is looking for you. The market loves people that can't admit that they wrong. It's looking for you. They looking for you, right? They special little project. The market knows how to isolate all those people and punish them until they leave the market, right? You got to be willing to accept, hey, I made this particular decision with this capital. It's not going the way I needed to go based on how I structured out this particular trade. It's time to cut my losses and recapitalize, right? I can't sit on here and talk about what the banks did and the hedge fund. That's a waste of your time. As a trader, anything except you trying to figure out how to make a successful trade is a big waste of your time. Worrying about the markets being manipulated. If the market is so manipulated, you need to leave. You need to get out, right? Because they're not going to stop doing what they're doing because you've discovered something about them. Don't work that way. They was here before you. They're going to be here after you. Dealing with institutions, right? That's like somebody telling me, college football was unfair to athletes. Yeah, it is, right? It's more fair now than it's ever been. But, either you're going to play ball or you're not. Just choose not to participate. But what Maurice Claret tried to do years ago, he's going to try to sue to make them people. Man, you're wasting your time, bro. Because that's not going to happen. So what I want you to understand is that what blows a lot of accounts for a lot of people is they will not cut their losses on their account. It's the ego thing for them. And so they'll rather lose money than admit they're wrong. It's a cold game, right? It's a cold game out here, bro. They'll rather lose money that they work for than admit that they was wrong on the trade because they got to be right. Because they enter every situation trying to be right, not trying to get it right. And so this is why I tell people about the psychological part of being a trader. Trading is easy. It's really not. It's pushing buttons. This is 2024 going into 25. Just push a button. It's the psychological and the behavior component that gets a lot of people caught up. But this is what people struggle with in their daily life. So it's a daily struggle right, to figure these things out. It's not something technical. It never has been and never will be, in my opinion, and not the way I teach it, right? I don't teach it that way. Okay? Take profit, stop trying to be a hero. A lot of people would not take a profit. And I get caught up in this myself. So I'm going to let you know, I got some Philip Morris contracts that's up. I still ain't took profit on them because I think I could get more. This gets everybody, myself included. I got some Philip Morris contracts that we up, and I still haven't taken profit on them because I think I can get some more out of the deal, right? And I don't think like 10%. I think a lot more. And so this is something that we get caught up in. I can put a trailing stop on it and play it like that. But a lot of times, early traders, when they early on, they need to learn how to take profits and leave, and take profits and leave, and take profits and leave. Trailing stops to me are for more advanced traders. I try to teach people initially, get your money off the table and go. Get your 30% and leave. Get your 30% and leave, instead of trying to figure out how to milk every dollar out of the market. Because it's a behavior issue and it's a discipline issue. But this even gets me, because you see, I can make some more money. I got some good contracts right now. Let me see, can I get another 50%? And so it's a discipline issue to sometimes take the money that's on the table. And it's nothing that I don't think it's anything that you ever overcome unless you just automate all your trades to exit at a certain situation. And then you just walk away from the market. And you can do that. And it'll be easier now over the next 4 to 5 years with automation, when you can just have your whole account set up, all automated with conditional orders. And you just sit back and let the computer run everything for you, and you just make the decision on what to run the trade on. And I think that'll make it a lot easier on people, right? As opposed to being an active trader. Because a lot of times, man, I've seen people trade live and be up and won't take the profit, and the market rebound on them. And, they lose 25, 30%. So this is something I still struggle with, right? So how you blow accounts is you don't take profit. So you lose what you could have got, and then you also have the issue is you won't cut your losses. If you won't cut losses and you won't take profit, you're going to keep blowing accounts. And no trading education, no strategy is going to ever change that. If you won't learn how to cut your losses, and on top of that, you won't take profit, you're going to keep blowing accounts. There's not a trading strategy in the world that's going to change that, because it's a behavior issue. It's not an issue of lack of knowledge around the market. It's not an issue you don't understand technical analysis. You don't operate as a trader properly, right? But the behavior is so deep, it can get anybody, right? It can get anybody. Stop trying to trade like the next man or woman trade your account. This is a big problem for a lot of folks. A lot of people will not learn what kind of trader they are. They trying to be like the next person. We got a saying in Florida, we used to say, you can't be like me, you can only be like you, right? This is one of the reasons why I teach fundamentals and then I go into specific strategies, because a lot of people are going straight in learning strategies and they don't understand the fundamentals of how markets actually function. So what they try to do is they try to mimic somebody else. You can't be the next person. You can only be yourself, right? You can't. I seen the BMW today. That thing was cold, right? But I don't drive flashy cars personally. That's not for me. I like how they look. I like, the design, the whole 9 yards, the aerodynamics, the interior, but I don't drive flashy cars like that. I do eventually want to get an Alpina, the lease, but I'm not a flashy person. I don't wear jewelry around my neck. Never have, never will. I do not wear any jewelry. I do not wear expensive watches. Never have, never will. Right? That's not what we do where I'm from. Everybody else do different stuff. Right? I don't try to be a high profile, flashy person, look at me type of dude. That's not me. Does that work for other people? Yes, it works really well for them. They make a lot of money doing that. That's not me. I don't function like that. So what a lot of people do is that they see somebody else doing something. And before they learn really how they actually trade and how they function in markets, they try to be that person. And you can't do what that person does. You can only do what you do and what works for you. But they never learn enough about the actual market and how it actually functions to learn that about themselves. They just try to be the next person. So I sometimes have trades that go into the hundreds of percentages on wins, right? That's how I trade. That don't mean that's how you need to trade. You may do better just taking 30% every time. Because you can't be like me. You can't do what I do. You can only do what you do. See what I'm saying? And I cannot make you me. I can't. It's impossible. Right? What my goal is to teach you the fundamentals of how this space works, so you not go create your own style. But it's not to try to make you a mimic or to make you I forgot what that, a mini me, a me. That's not what I'm trying to do. Right? Because you can't be like me. You can only be like yourself. So where a lot of people get caught up in is they looking at other people's accounts, they looking at other people's wins, and they trying to trade like the next person. That's why I tell you again, if you want to learn how to trade on the short term, you need to go holler at Chastity. Why? Because I can't do what she do. I can't do that. Do I make some short-term trades here and there? Yeah. But the consistency that she got, I can't do that. That's not me. But I'll put my long-term trades against anybody out here because I know what I get into. Right? I'll put a 2-year span or 2-year horizon on the company, and I say, watch how I go exactly where I say it's going to go. But that's what I can do. So that's what I want you to understand is that everybody got their own gift, right? Something the brother was talking about in Sunday school last week too. Everybody got their own gift. The question is how you bring your gifts to the table. But everybody got a gift, right? But a lot of times because people haven't figured out they gift, they haven't figured out their lane, they just trying to mimic the next person. And it's hard to do that. It is just very difficult. Could I learn how to trade on the short term? I could if I really dedicated myself to it. Do I think I could be as good as Chastity? I doubt it. Could I think I could be as good as Mecca? I doubt it. Now, I don't have to be as good as them to be profitable. But everybody got their own gift. They got their own space. And so what I really want to encourage you to do is stop trying to trade like the next man or next woman. Figure out what works best for your account and trade your account. Because when you're struggling with what you're doing, everybody else looks like the best thing since sliced bread. Because they saying they got to figure it out. But they got to figure it out for themselves. It don't mean they can even teach you how to do what they do. A lot of people cannot teach how to do what they do. They can't. Right? That's why this trading space is so bad. Because a lot of these people, some half of them is fraudulent. But a lot of people cannot teach how to do what they do. They don't have the ability to. Right? They can do it, but they cannot teach it. And what they won't do, because people are attracted to what other people are doing, is they just won't teach the fundamentals of the game and let the person learn their own way and develop their own style. So I always want to encourage you, trade your account. It don't matter how much money somebody else makes. Somebody always making more money than you in this market. Goldman Sachs, JP, BlackRock, State Street. What's the other one that's running with Trump? Start with a B2. They all making more money than you, right? I follow traders that make way, way more money than me. I don't worry about what they're trading. I worry about what I'm trading. Because some of my biggest losses have been for me worrying about what somebody, trying to piggyback on somebody else's trade. Some of my biggest losses have been from there. Because I don't even understand. I learned how to trade by taking somebody else's trades and reverse engineering them to figure out what they was doing. Some of my biggest losses, thank you, Katrina, Blackstone, that's it. They run it with Trump. Some of my biggest losses have been me just piggybacking on what somebody else said. Because I have no idea. I don't even understand how to even compose trades. Like, how did they come up with a trading idea? I have no idea. I have no idea. So I had to learn, let me figure out how to make trades on my own. Because some of these, I don't know how they come up with trades, right? And then I knew a dude who had real good trade ideas, but the contracts he would pick was terrible. He would pick contracts so far out of the money. I was like, man, these contracts never going to be successful, even if you write. He knew how to come up with big ideas. He was bad at picking contracts. Terrible. And he had a Discord charging people big money. It was losing a lot of people money. But this was during the pandemic when everybody had money to lose. So that's the first thing. You got to trade your own account. Next one, you got to start small and grow big. A lot of people, you're trying to rush where you're trying to go. I get it. Right? You're trying to get somewhere. I understand it. But you can't rush it. Right? You can't. And I get it. You know, I wanted to get a bigger YouTube account. I'm still at 8,000. I thought I could be at 10,000 by the end of the year. It just hasn't gone that way. Right? I wanted a bigger, but it is what it is. Somebody had to kind of explain to me that, you know what, you're being developed for something bigger. So you need to just be content with the developmental process. But yeah, I wanted a bigger account. I wanted to have a bigger profile on YouTube. I wanted to have a bigger channel because I see people in the space and I don't feel like they're better than me. I don't feel like they really know what they're talking about. And they got way, way bigger channels than me. but it is what it is. I got to work my pace at my pace and be content with the pace I'm working at and have confidence in what I'm doing and have faith in what I'm doing. Same thing with your account. Start small and grow big, right? A lot of times people make bad trades because what they're trying to do is they're trying to get there real fast. They're taking a lot of risk on, right? The market's not going nowhere, but people feel pressure to make money in the market. And we're going to get into that a little later. So that pressure can make you take on a lot of risk when in reality, what you need to do is be very methodical about what you're doing. These markets not going nowhere. I told people, and people remember this, you got some of my older YouTube videos. I told people when Tesla was running up, I say there's going to be another Tesla. What was the other Tesla? It was NVIDIA. NVIDIA had its run up. It's going to be another NVIDIA. You just got to figure out which one it is. It's going to be another one. Look like it might be Carvana. Because if you bought Carvana at $10 and you holding on, you up right now looking real pretty if you bought it at $10. So the next NVIDIA low-key probably was Carvana, but they was kind of going on at the same time. But it's going to be another one of those. The market produces these type of situations, right? It just does. So what you want to do is develop yourself so when the situation happens, you can capitalize off of it. But what a lot of people is doing is they trying to get there so fast, they listen to 30 people, right? They got 30 discords they trying to get trades out of all these 30 different discords. They still ain't figured out what they're doing because they trying to just throw something at the wall and see what sticks. Right? And that might work, but the question is it sustainable? Can you do that long term? So you might hit for 25, 30,000. I would encourage you to take it all out of the market because you don't know how to trade. And you're not trying to learn how to trade. You're just trying to hustle up some money. You got your bread. I would tell you to walk away. Because if you keep doing that over the course of time, you're going to lose all your money because the game not like this, right? So I would encourage you to start small, grow big. Small is going to be relative. I had people reach out to me say, yeah, man, I'm getting ready to fund my account with $25,000. I was like, yeah, that's a lot of money, but they had it like that. So that was a lot of money to me. It wasn't a lot of money to them. Everybody different, right? But what's small to you, I would encourage you to start there and then really really focus yourself on trying to grow it bigger over time, right? As opposed to trying to rush to get there because that's how you blow accounts. Next one, don't let anybody pressure you to trade ever, right? We're retail traders. We don't work for a firm, right? We don't have to wake up in the morning and trade. We don't have to because we don't work for a firm. I don't work for a prop firm. I haven't been funded. Prop firms don't want to fund me. You want to know why? Because I don't trade enough for them. I don't have the volume of trades for prop firms to make money off of me. So they can't, and they're not going to make me trade because that's what they want me to do. I'm not doing that. I'm going to make the trades I want to make. Don't ever let somebody pressure you to trade ever, right? It don't matter what's going on, okay? That's like me telling somebody that's in real estate, you got to do a real estate deal right now because I said so. If the deal's not on the table, the deal's not on the table. If the numbers don't make sense, the numbers don't make sense. Right? Don't ever let anybody feel you pressure to run into. That's how you lose money in this market. Because what you'll do is you'll throw your risk management out of the window just to make a trade. This is why I don't tell people you can replace your job with trading. Have people done it with what I've taught? Yes, but I don't promote that because why? You may not have the ability to do that. Right? You may put so much pressure on yourself to where you take bad trades because you feel like I got to hit X amount of money this week. So you take on bad trades or you size up too much as opposed to letting the trade come to you, right? Risk management, preserving your capital because I got to hit X amount because I'm a trader and I feel pressure to make a certain amount of money every week. Don't ever let somebody pressure you to trade. If a person is trying to pressure you to trade, they don't understand trading, tell them to come take my course. Right? Tell them to come take my course. And I teach them why you shouldn't pressure nobody to trade. You feel me? And a lot of people, reason why I didn't teach short-term trading, because I didn't want nobody to feel pressure to try to make a trade. Today just may not be your day. Try it tomorrow. Right? Tomorrow may not be your day. Try it the next day. But a lot of people, when they come into this space, they struggle to turn that computer off. Some days, man, you need to wake up in the morning, look at the market, say, no, this ain't it, and cut the computer off and go do something else. Just look at the market and be like, no, this ain't it. Because when I first started trading, they have something we call red days, green days, and yellow days. Do you want to trade on a yellow day where the market might be flat? You're going to try to force a trade out of the market today. People try this type of stuff, right? Because they gotta make a trade, or they got to show other people they can trade. I'm not doing that. I'll be the first to tell you, man, I don't like how the market look. Yeah, I'm finna go work out or, read a book or, whatever. I'm not trading nothing today. I don't like how the market look. I have my alerts on. I may look at the market later on before it closes. Something may come across my Twitter, but a lot of times will be doing other stuff during the day that's not trading, because I'm not going to be forced to make a trade. It's not going to happen. Unless you're going to give me the money, then I'll do it. But I'm not going to do it with my money, because that's not how I built my trading success. I built my trading success by recognizing the opportunity, being patient, and taking advantage of the opportunity. That's how I built it. That's the format. That's the formula. It's not feeling pressure, right? Now, if you want to finance me, we could do that. But people don't want to do that. They don't want to do that. But you can finance me. I'll take whatever trade you tell me to take. I don't care. It's not my money. So whatever trade you tell me to take, I'll take, right? But I'm not a trader working for a bank where I have to trade their book because that's their book. That's a different scenario, right? And so because I understand how these different type of situations work, I don't let somebody put me in a situation that I don't have the ability to function in, because you haven't set me up properly. But yeah, if you want to finance me, I'll take whatever trade you tell me to take. I don't care, because it's not my money, right? But prop firms don't want me because why? I don't trade enough for them, right? I sit back and let things happen. And then like I said, my Avis trades, those are my biggest amount of trades for the year. But that's one ticker. And then it took time for all that to develop, right? I'm still in some more puts on that, but it took time for that to develop. So I think, because I like to look at trading on kind of similar to real estate. Real estate takes time. It's not like an overnight thing. A lot of this, TVs and stuff like that, where people buying the house and they doing a quick remodel, they throwing it back on the market, and everything happens in an hour. But like real estate take time. It's not an overnight thing. That's kind of how I look at trading, right? It's more of a process, and I'm a fan of the process, and I'm really a fan of the research, as opposed to I got to make it happen because I need to pay my rent this month. I would rather have you learn how to trade and hit and be able to pay your rent off for the next 6 months. But if every month you're trying to pull it out, that's what you want to do. I ain't going to stop you. That's what you want to do. But I don't want you to feel like you got to do that, right? That's what I'm saying. I don't want you to feel like you have to do that, right? So that's it. So that's pretty much how you don't blow accounts. And these are some of the things that I had to learn. I may still struggle with. I may still have issues with, because I'm here to tell you, nobody's a perfect trader. So even though I teach beginners, I still have issues and pitfalls I run into. Because like I say, in this game, and it's up, downs, and turnarounds. Nobody's perfect at this. So just because I'm at this stage of it, it don't mean that I'm looking back and saying, well, the last time I made a mistake trading was in 1936. No, I'm not doing that, because that's not true. That's not true. I can make a mistake on the trade just like anybody else, right? And then I got to recover from it, try to figure out how to fix it, and keep pushing. So that's going to be it. We ain't going to keep you here real long. If you got anything that you want to talk about real quick, dealing with the market, yada, 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 that's pinned in the chat. And then we're going to get up on out of here before we get too late into this particular lunchtime day. It's 2:11 on the East Coast. Let me go through my comments. So big up to Mr. Terrence. Appreciate the 499 super chat, and appreciate you coming through and being a mod. So big up to all my mods. So Drop 16 said you're looking at your trading log this year, did well, doubling down next year. Okay, congratulations on that. I appreciate you. What's up to Dr. Chaz out of Conroe? What's up to Michelle Green out of San Antonio, Texas? What's up to Miss Phoenix 91 out of Toledo? What's up to Brandy, Miss Brandy Williams, accounting tax? Reach out to her for your tax questions. your taxes, things of that nature. You know, we getting ready to go into tax season real fast. What's up to Miss Alexander? One mistake was not observing my stop losses. I feel you. I feel you on that. So Intelligent Mind Smith said that options account for learning. I blow that up, but I'm learning. Yeah, you're going to blow accounts. It's not a big deal. The question is, how much money are you blowing up? Engineered Appliance Repair says, had a second thoughts on futures, more of a long-term game, and having information is critical. I would say with futures, the same thing with any trade is risk management. That's what I would say with futures. Because with futures, you can lose more than what's actually inside your account because you're trading on margin, right? So to me, again, that's how I see the market. Everybody sees the market different, so they think that their edge is different. But to me, risk management is the most important thing on futures, right? Because of the way in which the futures market moves, it moves differently than the equity market. And I think a lot of people are in the futures market. They want to be technical, but they haven't really, I would say, committed themselves to the space. So they haven't found their edge. And so they're floundering in the market because they don't have an edge, right? Because they taught from somebody that don't teach them how to get an edge, right? SGB, what's going on?
Nothing much, man. How are you?
How do you feel?
Pretty good.
So what's up with it?
Nothing, man. Just enjoying your broadcast and listen to the game that you're dropping about the trade market, man. And I've been doing it for about almost 10 years now.
Okay.
Everything that you're talking about is true. You're gonna have bad times, you're gonna have up times, but the psychology is 85% of it.
I feel you. What asset class you trading?
I trade currencies and I trade futures.
Okay, so yeah, dude, we're just talking about futures. So what has, if asking you, because I don't trade futures at all, what would you say has allowed you to be successful in the futures market?
I'll be honest. So when I started out trading, I got into crypto first and had a lot of success with that, and went over to currencies and futures, and mainly currency. I have a lot of success in currencies, but for me, the turning point, the discipline part was, I had a phenomenal month one time, like the most money I had ever made in like 2 weeks, and turned around and lost like half of it in one day.
Mm-hmm.
And I stopped, and I was like, I got to do something different, the discipline, because everyone says what they will and won't do until they're, behind that terminal and those trades. But for me, I've been, and like you said, everyone has to do it their way and figure out what their strengths are. For me, I've been a software engineer for 20 years.
Okay.
And for me, I sat down, I stopped trading, and I just started automating all my trading. I started writing code. I've been disciplined in many languages or whatnot. And I just finally took the time to sit down and just apply everything that I knew. And for me, that was becoming successful and becoming disciplined. Like, I didn't know if I was going to ever really have the full discipline to, keep my hands off trades. But I knew I was a disciplined software engineer and had many years of success with that. So for me, I couldn't trade, like you said, I couldn't trade like everybody else or whatnot. So I sat down and developed my own system, wrote my own strategies, wrote my own code. And that's how I found success, is actually being disciplined enough to write my own automated code and just allow it to work on my behalf.
Yeah, you sound like Miss Alexander. She come from that same perspective. So, but what keeps you, even though you have a system, what keeps you from overriding your own system?
I would say even in that aspect, you still have to have discipline, because I have times where it's like I only check my accounts maybe once a week, check my at the end of the week, and look at my P&L. And sometimes I want to change it, but I in the law of large numbers, and if I can recommend a great book, The Man Who Solved the Markets. It came out maybe about 3 or 4 years ago, about Jim Simons. And great book. But they even, even in the book, they talked about, like, they even had their struggles when, allowing the system to play out. You gotta you're going to have down weeks, you're going to have down months, but you have to allow the numbers to play out, because if you back test it and forward test it, and you set the system up so that you're not going to, over leverage, because you still have to have that level of discipline. But for me, it's just, I have to allow the numbers to play out. And even when it's not like a super profitable month, let it play out. And, and understand that, like you said, the market's not going anywhere. You don't have to make all the money today. It's a long-term game.
Yeah, definitely. I agree with you there. Yes, I'm glad you was able to come up with a way to automate. I think that's going to get a lot easier as we go into the future.
Yeah.
Because right now they're trying to sell people on, I'm not talking about you, but they're trying to sell people on, we got a trading bot that can kind of tell you where to take your trades, yada, yada, yada. But I think, and you may remember this because you're a software engineer. So like, I remember when I first started doing online marketing, you had to code your own web pages.
Mm-hmm.
So like I learned how to code with like HTML, a little bit of CSS, and then you started having like what you see is what you get onliners to do, like lead pages.
Mm-hmm.
And so it made it relatively easy to where you didn't have to know any code, but you could set up your own landers that we could run offers to. So it made it easier for more people to come into the space as a marketer. Yeah. I think that may eventually happen with code, the way as opposed to me having to be a software engineer to understand how to code bots or the code conditions around my trades. I think somebody will create a program to make it easier for me to have to do it without having to learn all that code.
Yeah. And there are a lot of things out there. I would say, and I've looked into those things. The two problems with that is, and I won't say it's a problem, because some people have great success with that, and I'm not knocking it at all. I think it's great, is that you still have to fully understand how this thing works.
Yeah.
And they can tell you, set it up like this and do this, and you'll do it and like, I'm not really getting the same results. And a lot of times you just don't understand how it really works under the hood.
Yeah.
And, when you build it yourself and you understand how it works there is no surprises. There is no, it may do this. No, you know exactly what every setting, what everything does. And I've seen some people that have great success with that. But for me, I have to know how it all works. And I think that, those tools are out there. But once again, going back to what you've covered in the broadcast is, if you don't have that psychological discipline, you're going to keep pushing the limits of that, and you're still going to lose. So the psychology even plays out. So that's why I love listening to your broadcast when you talk about this, even though I trade from a very different perspective. But even with the automation, you still have to have a high level of discipline not to tinker with it and blow your accounts or anything like that, because you can still have the same. If you have the same mentality, I don't care. It's almost like driving a car. You can drive a Indy car, or a F1 car. You can drive a street car. If you're a reckless driver, you're gonna wreck the car no matter how many features it has.
Yeah, definitely. I agree with you there. Yeah, I always told people the downfall of every system is a person. A person will figure out how to defeat a system because it's what they want to do at that time. So even though we create a really, really rigorous and robust system with a lot of rules in it, a person, because of how humans are, will want to do what they want to do in the system. Exactly. And so I think, because when you trade for a firm, they make you exit out of trades. Mm-hmm. They don't allow you to over leverage. You can if you get like an exemption from your boss, but they make you follow certain conditions because they have certain risk parameters they have to stay into. So you're right. As retail traders, we got to be way more disciplined, because nobody's going to come to us and say, hey, you got to get out of that trade.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, man, I appreciate it, man. So I appreciate, you giving us your perspective of it. And I like the fact that you trade multiple asset classes. One last question. When you're trading the crypto markets, right, do you feel like the people, and this because I don't know, because I don't trade crypto at all, do you feel like the participants in that market are not as savvy as the people maybe in the equities and the futures markets?
Some are.
Okay.
But I would say I think that group of people look at it as, some people come to it as it's a, for the decentralized ideals about it, like it's above like other types of market, and they still have this belief that it's like not controlled, it's decentralized. But like I said, I work in software, and like I know people that have, not personally, but like we talk amongst ourselves, software engineers, that when you talk about manipulation, like there is no oversight over these markets, and people really think they're decentralized, and it's really not.
Okay.
A lot of it is pump and dump control, a lot of manipulation in the market. So it's just not a lot of oversight. So I wouldn't say that, they just have I think people in that space have a different belief system than, when you're looking at, the stock market and other instruments out there. They just live by a different belief, and I'm more of a technical analysis. So it's like, manipulated or not, the way I, trade, or the way that my systems trades, it's looking at, if certain things don't transpire, a trade ain't happening.
Yeah, I feel you.
But yeah, I think it's just a different mentality, and some of them may be very savvy about the market, but I just think they have a different belief system than other markets.
Okay, that makes sense. Okay, because I was thinking about eventually looking at those markets, because you go into futures, you go into equities, you're dealing with a lot of large institutions, and you're dealing with the pros. So I was trying to look at maybe outside of Bitcoin, because there are institutions in Bitcoin, like what crypto asset or what crypto particular class could I look at, to where the participants maybe are not as savvy. Similar to how a lot of times I've seen people make a lot of money off penny stocks, because a lot of people in the penny stock space don't know what they're doing. So they're able to essentially dominate those particular spaces because they're trading against a lot of people that don't know what they're doing. And they won't even go to equities or futures because they don't want to trade with those people, because those people really know what they're doing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's what I was just considering, because I haven't traded anything crypto at all, because I haven't liked the exchanges that utilize them. But I was just looking at that as maybe another opportunity to where I'm not looking, because something I learned from because I deal with some people that run money on Twitter, is they kind of talk about going into markets that are not as liquid, and the participants are not necessarily as savvy. As opposed to going into markets like I'm trading Apple. The best people in the world are trading Apple.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely, and that's one thing about what I love about it, is that there's just so many opportunities to trade, and so many different asset classes that you can look into. So it's the opportunities are endless. But no matter what, what you're saying is, like I said, I love your message. I love all your your broadcasts. I love listening to them. And what you're saying is just, it can carry across all asset classes. If the discipline isn't there, I don't care if we're playing jacks or rolling dice, you're gonna lose.
You got
right. And that's the hardest thing for people to. And one more thing before I go
ahead.
One thing you said about these gurus and different things like that online, and they don't talk about their failures. And the hardest thing to either teach or just to be honest with people is that, like you said, I tell people all the time, I can just show you overall what I do on the back of a napkin. It's not that complicated.
Yeah.
But what it's going to take, I can't teach you how to be disciplined. And I don't think people want to be honest and just tell people, like, it's going to be hard, and you're just going to have to look in the mirror every day and understand what your weaknesses are, and you have to overcome them. And that's really the big part of the game. And a lot of people just think it's get rich quick, and you can just come in here and it's the wild, wild west. But it's not like that. And you got to get disciplined. And if that means being with a team, that means having someone to be on you, or you just really taking a look at yourself and taking the time and the years of, introspective, looks at yourself, and just getting in the right psychology to be successful.
All right, man. Hey, I really appreciate you coming through, man. So thank you for your contribution, brother, and keep doing what you're doing, man.
All right, man. You too, man. Thanks.
All right, peace. All right. Okay, man. So big up to bro for coming through, man, talking about crypto, futures, equity, and also coding his own stuff. So, he coming at it from a whole different perspective. So big up to him. So we're going to get up on out here because, like I said, I don't want to keep y'all here too long. I don't want y'all to get in trouble. But again, I learned how to stop blowing up accounts by some of the things that we talked about in this video. And just like the brother just talked about, it's a daily situation. It never goes away. It's not something that you ever master, because you constantly dealing with yourself, and then things can happen in your life that can impact your discipline, impact your concentration, impact your focus. And you still got to learn how to manage those things because you have money in the market, right? So that's all we're going to talk about. Glad y'all was able to come through. Hope you got some value from it. Like, share, and subscribe, and talk to y'all later.